Hi everyone, how are you today? I hope you're doing well. Today is December 4th. I'm a little bit late and I have not done a wrap up in a long time, so I hope that you're excited for this video. If you are, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I am excited to be back in the role of my channel and everything. I'm also working on 25 days of manga slash vlogmas, and I'm going to be uploading them 2 or 3 days at a time just because it's easier for me on my schedule. So yeah, keep an eye out for those. I did read a few actual books this month. I want to share them with you because they were really good. First, I finally finished this book I bought for my birthday back in January, if that tells you how long it's been, and I never read it. It's Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. This is, okay, it was in the thriller section if I'm not mistaken. It's so hard for me to categorize what genre this book is in. Kind of felt all over the place for me personally. I liked it. I think I gave it three stars. It's honestly probably 3.5 to 4. I really like the writing style. I think that Elizabeth Thomas is very talented and I am interested in more of her books. This ending was very odd. I felt like this was leading up to something. If you've ever played the game Gone Home, it's like a very odd atmosphere and just felt really creepy, and like any moment a jump scare could happen or something really creepy, and that never really happened. So it just kind of left me in that same feeling of something's about to happen but it never does. And I don't know, there was a payoff in here that was sufficient, but also I feel like it could have gone a little bit further. Maybe not into horror territory, but a little bit further into the mystery. Yeah, I think mystery, just fiction, would be okay for this. Not really thrilling, not really horror, just very odd, science fiction even. But yeah, I recommend it. It was a fun read. It just took me months to get through this because it was just so dense, I think. But it even has like the pretty deckled edges on it. But I do recommend it if you're interested in something weird like that. People have compared it to Wilder Girls and I don't really think it is, but you know, I love Wilder Girls. This was not as good, but it was still really good. The next thing that I read this past month in November was Ring Shout by P. Jelly Clark. I think that's how you say their name. That's what I've heard other people say, so that's what I'm going to say. If you know 100% know the actual pronunciation, please leave it in the comments. I would love to have that correctly because I loved this. This was great. I gave it 4 stars. Idea is very fascinating about how the Ku Klux Klan are actual monsters. There are humans that are part of that group, and then there are monsters who wear that as a mask, so turn into these really gross creatures that are very vividly described in this book. It's very terrifying. The language is the hardest part for me to get through. There's a lot of racial stuff, but that's not even what I'm talking about. It's the dialect in which this was written. It is very southern, very thick accents, and I recommend if you're curious to maybe read a sample, listen to the audiobook, or if you go into the store, flip through some of the pages and try to read a chapter or two, because it's difficult, especially if you have people in your house while you're reading it. I had to very much isolate myself to read this, and luckily it's very short, so it wasn't like I was hiding from my whole life while reading this. But it's very good. I really liked it, and I'm very interested to read more from this author. I highly recommend it if you're curious about something like this. The next thing I read is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. Never read anything by this author, but I've heard many good things, and it's kind of a thicker one of the thickest books I've read in a long time. I got it at my local bookstore because I wanted to buy something and support them, and I got a coupon for 30% off, so I did that. But this is a book about a young girl who's a teenager. She just graduated high school, kind of. She's kind of a misfit. She doesn't fit in. She's the most obsessed with slashers of any human being I think could ever exist. It's like slasher films, all that stuff. I loved reading from her perspective of being obsessed with these movies. It felt like I had a kinship with her in that. Of course I'm not as obsessed as she was, but it was still really fun to know exactly what she was talking about when she was talking about these movies, and just her passion for it. And she wrote these little essays at the end of every chapter that were just so fun to read through. She thinks that this girl who is new to her life and school is a final girl, and she's trying to help this girl navigate her way through this horror that is happening around her. But is something actually happening? We don't know until further into the book. I will say the action doesn't really happen until the very, very end of the novel. So if you're hoping for a super fast-paced horror slasher, that's not what you're getting with this, but that doesn't mean that it's not good. It's a little slow for some people. I noticed the reviews were kind of mixed on it, but I really loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I think that it's probably more of a 4.5, but rounded up to 5 because overall I do have a positive feeling over this book. I am going to recommend it from now on to people who are similar to me in taste when it comes to weird books like this. Is weird. This is a very weird book. It's more of a character study of this girl who's obsessed and maybe not the most mentally sound person, but still entertaining. And I would recommend it. I do think the ending went a route that I didn't love. I wish it had been more realistic, if that makes sense. If you read it, you'll know what I mean, but it went from 0 to 100 pretty quick there, but it was very fun to read, even if it wasn't what I wanted. Next, I read volume 4 of Parasite by Hitoshi Iwaki. This is a series that I'm absolutely loving. Love the anime. Finally starting to read the manga. And if you like horror or Resident Evil video games or anything similar to that in media, please read Parasite. It's so good. It's still in print even though it's a million years old. It's fantastic. It is very affordable, only $11 per volume. I got to get through it because I don't want it to disappear off the shelves, so I'm trying to get it slowly but surely. Next, I have volumes 6 and 7 of Sweat and Soap by Kentetsu Yamada. These characters are so amazing. I love this story, y'all. If you are a fan of Sweat and Soap, you totally understand what I'm talking about. But if you've never read this series, I keep telling you guys this, but for real, from me to you, if you don't like romance, I want you to try it. Just pick up volume 1, maybe volume 2, and give this a shot, because I think that this deserves, it's getting hype, but I think it deserves way more. Honestly, it's way underappreciated in my personal opinion, and it's so beautifully written. Fun, it's sexy, you know. If you don't even like sexy stuff, it's not too intense, especially the further it gets into the series. I feel like the first 3 or 4 are pretty spicy, but they get a little more tame. But we're really studying relationships and the dynamics between 2 separate people who are trying to bring their lives together to be one. And from someone who has done the same thing, I really love the perspective here, and it felt like I was reading my own life a little bit, but more from a outside perspective, if that makes sense. Please read Sweat and Soap, it's so good. Next, I read volumes 3 and 4 of Living Room Matsunaga-san. My throat gets really dry when I make videos. I don't know why, and so I start coughing, and it sounds like I'm crying, but I'm not, I promise. This is a good series. I like it. Everyone has their own opinion about age gaps, but I personally like this one because it's really fun. I identify with the graphic design stuff in this because Matsunaga-san is a graphic designer, and it's really fun to read that perspective in the manga form. And yeah, I think it's really cute and really fun, and I can't wait to continue it. The last thing I read this month is Burn the Witch by Tite Kubo. Now this, first of all, when I did a haul for this, I talked about how I thought this was too much money, and I still agree. I think that this was way too expensive for what I got. Not that it's bad, but they made you pay like $20 for a little bit thicker of a manga and this kind of crappily done slipcover. It was wrapped and it still has damage to it. Like I don't love the packaging for this, and I guess all of them are gonna be $20. I hope there's not a whole bunch of these because of that. It's not very accessible to people who are just starting to read some manga. So this is for people who I guess are already huge fans of Tite Kubo or who just have a lot of money to throw around, because I wouldn't have bought this if I was not a fan of Tite Kubo, if I'm being honest. My husband loves Bleach. He got me into it. And I wanted to check this out because it's technically in the same universe, just different part of the world as Bleach, and it's about witches, dragons. It was okay. I think I gave it like 3 stars. Yeah, I want to continue it just to see if there's any tie-ins to Bleach, but it's gonna be a slower collection for me. Alright, that's everything for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you will subscribe to my channel, and have a good day, and a Merry Christmas or whatever holidays you celebrate or don't celebrate. And I will see you guys in the next video, okay? Bye guys.